गुरु प्यारी साध संगत जी दोने हाथ जोड़ के फतेह का जवाब बख्शो। आखो जी वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। एक बारी ध्यान धरदे होए धन श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी के चरणों दे विच दास नूं असीसां बख्शो तां कि जो भी विचार होवे गुरमति अनुसार होवे। कृपा करके फिर ध्यान धरदे होए दुबारे आखो जी वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। साध संगत जी, we are very blessed to be sitting at the feet of Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and Das has been given an opportunity to speak right after Bhai Tajinder Singh. Bhai Tajinder Singh has covered the vichar of Tan Kalgiyan Wale di Bani, which is Sri Dasam Granth, and he's spoken briefly on each of the Pramukh Baniya in Sri Dasam Granth. One of the Banis that he mentioned, the third Bani, is Vichitra Natak. And we're all familiar with a lot of Panktis from this Pavitra Bani. And I want you to recite one Bani after me. And I'll say it first, you just repeat it after me. Bina Saran. Saran di awaaz aave. Bina Saran. So, Bina Saran ta ki. बिना शरणता की नहीं और ओटंग। बिना शरणता की नहीं और ओटंग। खालसा जी, I believe माँ जी दा गुरपुरब होवे असी भिज के जाइए माँ जी दे प्यार दे विच। That if it's Maharaj's Gurpurb, it's Maharaj's Avatar, it's Maharaj's Gurta Gadi, or it's Maharaj's Jyoti Jyot, that we just soak ourselves with the love of our Guru Sahib and then leave. So this one Pankti that I've shared with you comes from Vichitra Natak, Sri Dasam Granth, and now that we've actually recited it, all what the pav is of this Pankti that comes in Vichitra Natak is that aside from you, I have nothing else. You're my support system. And let's pledge ourselves and see through Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And now with this definition and this Pankti in your heart, let's sing it out. Bina saranata ki, bina saranata ki japo. बिना शरणता की बिना शरणता की नहीं और ओटंग नहीं और ओटंग बिना शरणता की बिना शरणता की नहीं और ओटंग नहीं और ओटंग बिना शरणता की बिना शरणता की नहीं और ओटंग नहीं और ओटंग Sat Sangat Ji, every one of us, if they're amritizing the Sangat or non-amritized, we have a love for Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Yet we haven't fully comprehended, and neither will we comprehend this Agami Surma that has been known as Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji. So, Vai Pargatyo Bhagavant Roop Guru Gobind Sura, Vai Pargatyo Mard Agamra Varyam Akela. Guru Gobind Singh Sache Pasha Agam, that you can't fully comprehend him. Your mind can't fully approach that place of where Guru Maharaj placed his footsteps and try to comprehend what he did. There's such a depth to it, such a depth to it. So to appreciate Maharaj's avatar, I want to share with you a couple of vichars, and then bas samapti, I want to pass the mic on to Bhai Sarbjit Singh. At that place, before Guru Maharaj came to Patna Sahib, you're fully aware of what that place is, Hemkund Sahib. Hemkund Parbat hai jahan, sapt sring sobat hai tahan, sapt sring teh naam kahawa, Pandaraj jeh jog kamawa, teh adak tapasya sadhi. That's where Guru Maharaj immersed himself in the Lord's worship. He immersed himself in the Lord's worship and did it to such an extent where he felt that there was two, the Lord and himself, but after there is only one left. Dwate ek roop hoye geo, became one sroop. Maharaj would receive the command by the Lord Almighty. He'd receive the command to go to this world. And he would also say in this Param Pavitra Bani of Bachitra Natak that I didn't want to come to this world because my mind was pierced into the feet or into the Simran or Abhyas of the Lord. In this Poda Mahina, people have a difficult time tolerating the cold. Right? Pok tukhar na vyape, kant milya har na ho. People have a hard time tolerating the cold, especially if they're old, or especially if they're young. But Guru Maharaj says this is all tolerated when the person appreciates that God is sitting inside of them and they embrace God and move away from the aren't. Move away from that body, which is just 5 elements gathered together from this material world, and which you call your day, your body, and you know, you name it too. So, Guru Maharaj said, I didn't want to come to this world, but I came because it was the command. It was a command. And Agya Kari ho ke Guru Maharaj aaye. But that platform where Guru Maharaj used to sit, he came where he did worship and where he used to come to do Ishnan, which we now as known as that Sarovar at Hemkund Sahib. There used to be a platform there. And Guru Maharaj wasn't the only medicant up there in those mountain ranges. There were a lot of other medicants at that same time before Guru Maharaj entered into this world, came into this world. Well, he was there in this world, but in that abode at Hemkund Sahib. Then he came as Guru Gobind Singh Ji, but before that time when Guru Maharaj was sitting as Hemkund Tapasvi, there were other names that I'm going to share with you. Bodhriki, Brahmriki, there is Son Muni, and then there is Allah Yariki. All of these names, though might not be significant to you, but they used to be all sitting in caves doing their own meditation. And for 9 months up on that mountain range, it snows, and it becomes completely cold. Everything gets covered in snow. And for 3 months during the summer, that snow starts to melt. And during that time is when they would all come out and meet with each other, Brahmadi Vichar Karnli, to contemplate on God and to see where their spiritual levels are and to guide each other in the right direction. They met with each other. And at that time, when Dushdaman, Guru Gobind Singh Ji in his previous life form, he received the command to go to this world, he shared it with those individuals. This is all written in Kalgitar Chamatkar by Veer Singh. He shared this with other individuals. They didn't take it easily. And they tried to sway him away from going to this world. They said to him that, why leave this to go into shackles? People are in shackles by vices, and why are you going to leave this heavenly spot to go there? He explained command. It's his command. They would ask what is command, but I'm not going to go into that vichar. And then after they dispersed, they went back to their respective spots where they were meditating. Another day they came and met again. And this day one of them spoke up. His name was Allah Yarikhi. And he said, after our last meeting, I had a vision and I was visited by a spirit. He said, though I don't know him by name, I know what he accomplished, what he did. He came to an eastern land, oh maaf karna, the western part, or west side of India, you can say towards the Saudi Arabia desh, and we all know this area to be home to Muhammad and Jesus. Well, at this place, this individual came. And then after what he preached, he would eventually be put up on top of a cross and crucified. This spirit visited me. We're all familiar with this name. I already mentioned it, Jesus Christ. Though he wouldn't mention the name, he said, I was visited by Jesus Christ. Now this month of Po, we know that Guru Maharaj's avatar, Guru Gobind Singh Ji's avatar happens in this month, as well as the birth of Jesus Christ. And we're all familiar with this because those are the days that we get off that are tied to Jesus Christ's name, whether it's Easter, whether it's Christmas. Now, this Allah Yariki says to everybody else, in this sabha, in this congregation, which includes Dushtaman, he said, I was visited by Jesus Christ, and this is what he said to me. He said, don't dissuade him. Don't dissuade him. What does that mean? Don't try to persuade him not to come to this world. He said, when I was in the Garden of Gethsemane, this is the moments before he was arrested by the Romans that were led by Judas to the Garden of Gethsemane. And at that morning time, one of my followers pulled out a sword. One of my followers pulled out a sword, and I told him, those that live by the sword, die by the sword. Those that live by the sword, die by the sword. These were the words of Jesus Christ. And he said that those words have been misinterpreted. Those words have been misinterpreted, and I explain to you now that if you, with your eyes, were to look upon a lion, and that lion with its eyes was looking upon a child left defenseless with no parents around, what would you do? And you see the lion's course is towards that child, and the lion has its mouth open, and it's just moments away from devouring that child. What would you do? Well, at that time, if you had a weapon, it would give you enough bravery and strength to move forward, intervene in that path, and then use your sword. This is what Jesus is explaining to Allah Yar. He says, then that sword is not a sword. It's a shield. It's a shield. He says, don't dissuade him. This Hemkund Tapasvi known as Dushtaman is going to come to the world to show the people how to use the sword. He's going to show how to use the sword as a shield. Though the people that have come before, their sword mixed with ego. But look at Dushtaman. Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji in Bachittar Natak, when he mentions the words of Akal Purkh, he says, Akal Purkh Bachan is Keet Prat. What does that mean? That means that these are the words of the Almighty Akal Purkh through this ant. And again through Bachittar Natak, Maharaj would say, Kahan laga eho keet bakhane, mehma tor tu hi prabh jane. He says, how should this ant start to praise you? This is your father. This is your father, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. There was no lace of ego when he came. absorbed in Akal Purkh and became the very form and came to this earth. And this Allah Ya Rikhi says with full vindication, He says, do not dissuade him. He's going to do what no one else has done before. Dharam chalavan, santo baran, dusht savan ka mool oparan. He's going to uproot evil. Now, I'm going to quickly finish up here and tell you that people have gathered praise, and certain philosophers have narrowed it down into 3 categories. They said, if a person has done good, righteous things in this life, then that person has gathered praise. And if that person, let's take another person, if he hasn't done anything righteous, but his father has done something great, that person gathers praise. And if there's another person that has again done nothing valuable in this world, but his children go on to do something great, that person gains praises. Now, certain people are shuffled into each category. Maharaj fits into all of these categories. His father, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, what didn't he do? Saved the extermination of another religion. And if he hadn't have done so, then the whole face of India would have been painted with Islam. Guru Gobind Singh Ji himself, what didn't he do? He was the shield for the poor, defenseless. And he wouldn't fight for what other people have fought for in the past, which can fit into women, land, and wealth. Mahabharata was over Draupadi. The Battle of Troy was over Helen. Over wealth, land. You know these kind of categories have come up in previous wars. What was Guru Maharaj's fight over? It was to defend the defenseless. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Pavitra Sahibzade, children all across the globe, if you gathered them, you would not be able to amount at the dust at the feet of the Sahibzade. You all know what happened at Chamkaur Sahib and Sirhind. Now, before Guru Maharaj's avatar, I'll talk about another Maharaj's grandfather, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. One time at Kirtpur Sahib, when he had announced his successor would be Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji, his successor would be Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji, Mata Nanki, his wife, brought langar. Because it was at that time that Guru Maharaj Ji ne prashada shakna si, she brought langar before Guru Maharaj Ji. Maharaj Ji started eating. She started a conversation. She started talking to Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. You've already announced that you're going to leave this worldly cloak and now reside in Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji. You're going to reside in Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji. But what am I supposed to do? Am I to linger on without you? I can't survive without you. And then she would ask about what is Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji to do in this world. Give him direction as well, so he can appeal to you. While eating, Maharaj Ji listened. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, our 6th Guru, listened. And then smiled back at Mata Nanki. And after Guru Maharaj Ji ne Shakya Prashada, had his hands washed by Mata Nanki, and then he unhanu sambodhan kita. He talked to her. This is what he said. He said, Choliyad to Mata Nanki. Literally just meaning that take your hands out, because I'm going to give you something. He handed her a pothi. A pothi. He said, this pothi is to be given to Mata Gujar Kaur, and she is to do a abhyas. She is to do a abhyas from this pothi. And 26 years she did by the side of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. And even more, I'm just bringing it down to that moment that I know at Baba Bakale that both did tapasya. And Maharaj Ji recognized this. Guru Gobind Singh Ji recognized this. Tat Mat Mor Alakh Arada. Tat meaning father, Mat meaning mother. my father and mother in this world had done so much tapasya, worship. Next, Guru Maharaj would give a ramal. And Mata Nanaki would ask, what does this signify? Well, this signifies a curtain, a veil that'll cover and protect the honor of a religion that's going to be disrespected. Give this to Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. Tuada putter dharm di tham banuga. You ask what your son is to do, he's going to become a religious pillar. A pillar to hold up religions, not just our own, but others as well. And finally, he gave a katar. And those that are in Gatka and know Shastra Vidya, they know that it's a triangular weapon that you keep in your kamar kasa and use when an enemy is in close proximity. He gave that. And she says, Maharaj, explain this. This, give to your grandson. He'll take this in his hand and he's going to uproot evil with this. He's going to uproot evil in this world with this. Didn't Guru Gobind Singh Ji? Bhai Sahib mentioned with his kalam as his weapon, in one circumstance, Zafarnama came out and Aurangzeb's defeat happened. And then at one time, Azam Shah, a reflection of his father, Aurangzeb, is about taking the seat from his brother. And there's a war that's brewing. Bahadur Shah calls on Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Maharaj shoots one teer, ends the war right there. Azam Shah has gone down. Pandey Khan's ulad, meaning his grandsons, at that time in 1708, Khalsa Ji, they came into that tent. And they brought a katar and hit Guru Gobind Singh Ji with it. Maharaj took their heads off. Well, took one of their heads off, one was running, the other Singhs had taken and finished the other person off. Finished them off. Banda Singh Bahadur sent him to finish Wazir Khan and Chuthanand off. Otherwise, India would be under the cloak of Islam. There would have been no other dharm. But there is that dharm now coming to different lands. Buddhism, Jainism, Christianity, Sikhism, or what we call as the Khalsa Panth. Now, what I tell you as children on this day of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, we appreciate what he's done for us. And I tell you, and I'll leave with this, 1708, I mentioned it right now, 1708, Guru Gobind Singh Ji goes into the tent and the Sikh Sangat sees Guru Maharaj Ji for the last time. Maharaj Ji's gone in the tent. There is a funeral pyre that's been set up. Maharaj Ji says, I'm about to breathe my last, and a funeral pyre is ready. So he gave 52 hukum to the Sangat. There are 2 Nishan Sahibs at Sri Hazur Sahib. One of the Nishan Sahibs is where Guru Maharaj Ji sat and gave these commandments to the Sangat. And then Maharaj Ji would leave towards the tent. And he would go into the tent with a couple of Gursikhs. Some were such as Baba Deep Singh, Bhai Mani Singh, Bhai Santokh Singh. And then he would appoint them, task, Baba Deep Singh, you go to Damdama Sahib. That's where you do prachar. Bhai Mani Singh, you go to Sri Amritsar Sahib. That's where you will do prachar. Bhai Santokh Singh, you take care of this place. And he would explain, Mera koi angitha nahi banana. Idhi bhi vichar I will share with you, and I have shared in the previous classes, but I'm not going to get into that. And then that place where my funeral pyre has been held, that don't start looking to see if my bones are there. That's another thing Guru Maharaj Ji gave Updesh. And then finally, when Bhai Santokh Singh would try to light the fire would not be lit, and Guru Maharaj Ji would light it himself. And then he would say his final words to the Khalsa Panth. Not once, not twice, several times. Outside of the tent, the Sikh Sangat waits. And as they start to see the smoke coming out of the open tent, they start to see smoke coming out. What do you hear from Guru Gobind Singh Ji? Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, over and over again. Because what was he reminding you? As their children, it's important for us to hear this. Because Maharaj Ji came with this task ठाट प्यो हम जोर कर, बचन कहा सिर न्याय, पंथ चले तब जगत में, जब तुम करो सहाय। अकाल पुरख दी सहायता लेके, through the assistance of Akal Purkh, this panth has been created on this world, and Agya pe Akal ki tabi chalayo panth. In 1708, Guru Maharaj would say, it's because of Akal Purkh this panth has been created, and you belong to Akal Purkh. So Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, this Khalsa belongs to Vaheguru. And if you side with Vaheguru, and you pledge yourself to Vaheguru by pledging yourself as a Khalsa, as an ideal human being, then you'll be victorious, because Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh, Guru Maharaj is always victorious. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.